Hey guys, Andy here, and I am still here. But you'll tell from the video title that I've bought a new phone, the Pixel 8. And I wasn't going to, which is quite weird for me. I've been the Pixel 6 for 2 years, and the 8 came around, and I was still thinking, nah, I'll probably stay on the 6. Because, long-term subscribers will know that I used to change phone every sort of 6 months, 9 months perhaps. So to be on a phone for 2 years and then still be thinking, nah, probably won't. That possibly says we're down to small iterations on devices now, which isn't a bad thing necessarily, and I'll come to that later on. But yeah, there's nothing sort of groundbreaking that makes you go, oh my God, I've got to have that. And when it comes to the Pixels, it's generally about the software. And this is where I had a bit of a problem in that I liked some of the options you got with the Pro. But I wasn't paying £1,000 and I didn't want a bigger device. What I liked with the 8 is the pixels at the regular version are getting smaller and smaller. And I do quite like my small devices these days, so I quite like the idea of a slightly smaller 8, but I wanted the software of the Pro. I mean, why Google have to do this to us, I don't know. Anyway, thanks to the good chappy in 3, I got this for only £493, because again, I probably wasn't going to pay £700 for an iterative advance, but £500, yeah, I don't see why not. Well, £493 even if we're being precise. So I did a sort of a early Black Friday deal. I folded and I upgraded to the Pixel 8. I've been using it for a couple of weeks now, so I thought it was time for me to let you know my thoughts. So let's start off with the design. And I think, Pixel, I think everyone knows now, Pixel have their own sort of style, their own design. You could pick a Pixel out in the wild, which you might not see many still. Well, I work with developers and people like that, so I know a few of them do have Pixels, but you don't tend to see them on the bus or the train. Not that I'm on buses or trains these days, but you know what I mean. But I do like they've got their own distinct style now. You could recognise them. But also that camera bar, it serves a variety of purposes in my mind. So I like when a device sits flat on a desk. So if you're typing, just generally operating the screen with it on a desk, it's not rocking and moving around the place, and the camera bar gives you that stability. But also it's like a bit of a ledge that you can rest your finger underneath when you're holding it, or even when you're taking photos. It's just good to have something there rather than just that flat back screen. One of the main reasons I was quite interested in the Pixel 8 was its size. Basically, it's just they're getting a bit smaller. So my Pixel 6 started at 207 grams, the Pixel 7 was 197, the Pixel 8 now 187. So it's dropped 20 grams from the Pixel 6 to the Pixel 8. And obviously it's a bit smaller in overall size. And that's the route I'm going now. It's funny, we started off with small phones going bigger, big, big, and now I feel like I'm coming back down preferring the smaller. So that was quite a big draw for me. The Pixel 8 comes in 3 colours, Obsidian, Hazel and Rose. This obviously the Obsidian. We'll talk a little bit about the hardware. I'm not going to go through all the different specifications. I'll try and remember to throw them up on the screen here. But I mean, bottom line, we're looking at the Tensor chip version 3, which is like a 4nm chip. Now, I didn't think that my Pixel 6 was particularly slow. So to get the sort of power boost that I have with the 8 means that it is very slick and fast and smooth. And I certainly haven't noticed any kind of jitters, stutters, anything like that. Obviously, I've run Geekbench 6. It's always annoying when they bring out new versions of Geekbench because I lose all my historical data, and I probably should have put Geekbench 5 onto the Pixel 8 to get a score to compare against everything else. I didn't, but what I did do is put Geekbench 6 onto the Pixel 6. So, Geekbench 6, the Pixel 8 scored 4,100. The Pixel 6 scored 3,287. So that's a pretty big increase. That's like a 23% increase perhaps. I mean, obviously we're jumping a generation, so you would expect it to, but I suppose it's kind of almost just reassuring that, yeah, it is there. You're not getting the same power. Because I know a lot of people think that the internals don't really change in the Pixels. It's all about the software, but no, they clearly have. It's also IP68 dust and water resistant, which for me is quite important. And I'm quite an outdoorsy person. I like to go cycling, and I've got what's called a stem bag that the phone just sits into. And if it's raining, if I forget to cover it up, it's good to know if it gets rained on, it's probably fine. There is the same under-screen optical. I think it's optical or sonic, isn't it? And either way, so this is optical. I mean, the two different options that you've got, this is optical. But actually, which I've struggled with, my Pixel 6 was not great. I find this very reliable. The only time I think it didn't work that I can think of was this afternoon when I was trying to do a bit of filming and I wasn't really paying much attention, and I think I probably just missed the sensor more than anything else. And it did say, I don't recognise your thumb. And I tried again and then not. So it's really, to me, reliable and quite quick. But what the Pixel 8 also comes with is Face Unlock, which I didn't think I would like as much as I do. It's actually really quite a big purse. So I'm going to try and emulate picking your phone up. Now, it's still on the lock screen, but it's unlocked, so I can swipe my way in. You can have it, when it detects your face, it goes straight into the home screen. But the problem for me was it doesn't show any notification information when you're in that mode. I guess the logic being because you're looking at it and you're into the home screen, so why would it bother showing the info? Which is fine, and it kind of worked, but then you're dragging down the notification bar to read your notification. So actually it was a bit of a slower process. And when I'm listening to a podcast or an audiobook, I don't have the controls on the lock screen, which to me is quite important. So I went for the halfway point where it unlocks, as it just did, and I can go in. But I don't have to. I can stay on the lock screen and just control music, podcasts, audiobooks, etc. The face unlock, and this is probably the key thing, it works with like banking apps and pass keys and all that kind of thing. It's sort of verified, or it's classified as being a secure method of verifying it's you, which is better or more useful than I thought it would be. Quite honestly, I've really enjoyed using that. I'm going to move on to the speakers. In fact, having popped that back there, I'll give you a quick demo. So let's go to a podcast.
It was November 1987, babe. We were playing a dinner dance function on the Upper West Side, said Kevin McCarthy, 62, a former officer who is still in the band, which includes current and retired officers. After that, we were to get up.
So I think they sound really good. It's quite a well-rounded, and that's probably one of my sort of very common phrases when I'm trying to describe a sound from a phone, because it always surprises me that you get any kind of bass from a little thing like this. And when I say you get bass, that's probably a bit misleading. I'm not sure you would actually get bass, but and that's why I say it's quite a rounded. It's not an overly tinny noise. I think the 8 sounds better than the 6, but interestingly, it didn't score as well. So this scored 86.9 on my test, which is very much like mid-table. It's slightly above average. I think the average is 85 something. So it's not bad. It's not weak, and that's what I mean. I thought it sounded better than 6. I thought it was quite loud. It's not often that I'll have it on full volume when I'm listening to a podcast or an audiobook, unless I'm doing other stuff that's making a bit of noise in it and I need to hear over it. So overall, I'm quite impressed with the speakers. If we move on to the screen, and this is the second thing that I was really interested in upgrading from the Pixel 6. And it was actually what kind of tipped me over the mark. I was out cycling one day, I'd stopped at a coffee shop. The sun was actually, even though it was only a few weeks back in November, the sun was actually quite bright. And I kind of realised, this was a couple of days after the 3 offer had been put on Hot UK Deals. And I realised I had the phone under a table so I could see the screen. And then I thought, one thing with the Pixel 8 is this super bright screen. What do they call it? Sorry, hang on. Actua display. Because they say it will go up to 2,000 nits. That's crazy. 2,000 nits is massive. Now, in my use, I recorded on my test, it got to 1,437 nits, which quite honestly blows anything else I've ever owned out of the water. I think maybe a 900, maybe a Sony device, I'll have put it on the screen, you'll be able to see, but I think maybe a Sony device had 900 something nits. So this is way above and beyond. And in my use, definitely in the last couple of weeks, I've never had any point where I'm kind of struggling or having to hide it anywhere to be able to see it. It really is a very good screen. To give you the technical bits of it, it's a 6.2 inch, 1080 by 2400. It goes up to 120 Hertz as well, which I think is a first for the regular version of the Pixel. Although it defaults to 60, you have to go into the settings and enable smooth display. So there's a little tip. It warns you it might change the battery. To be honest, I've only had it going for a couple of days. Hard to tell. Although it has just tweaked me on something that I'll come to when we get to the battery. But yeah, all in all, I think the screen looks great. The colours look sharp and strong, balanced, and the sort of scrolling is very smooth. So yeah, the screen definitely a strong point. I'm going to move on to the cameras, and again, I'm not going to go over all the technical aspects, although I would say I quite like the selfie camera having like a wide angle mode, because I do end up taking a lot of selfies. Maybe, I don't know if that's just me, but anyway. But yeah, again, the photos, I don't know. To be honest, if you want to know details about the camera and the photos, you probably go and find a separate video. I'm showing you some examples of pictures I've taken. Honestly, can I tell a difference between this and the 6? I'm not sure I can, because the 6 I thought was pretty amazing. I don't take a lot of low light photos. It's mainly when I'm out cycling, and they always generally look very good. And there's no sort of, definitely the Pixel 8, it looks great as well. The colours look strong. The sort of the white balance has always seemed very good. The dynamic range seems very good. The detail seems very good. Macro works quite well, I would say. And I was reasonably impressed by the 8x zoom. This is a digital zoom, and I've taken a photo of like I think it was a cow or a bull of some kind, and then of a goat, and I thought they looked really good for an 8x digital zoom. Yeah, I mean, if you pixel peep, they're not super sharp, but on the whole, yeah, they look really good, I thought. And then there's a load of software features, and I'm going to mention 2 of them. So Best Take has got to be one of the ones that people sort of kind of go, oh, wow. So if you take a selfie or just a photo, I suppose group photo of 3, 4, 5, 6, multiple people, take a bunch of them when you do it, like 4 or 5, and then Google lets you choose which head you want to use. From those, so you pick one photo, you go to edit, and then it goes, all right then, you've got a few different options here. You tap on somebody's head or the little icon, and you select from the different options you've got. So therefore you can make the best picture of that group of photos, and it does work. I've tried a few of them. It works surprisingly well, actually. And then you've got audio eraser, which the idea being you do some video. And so the example I'm going to show you, I was just cycling along, so I knew there'd be some wind noise. I thought, okay, well, let's try it. Let me talk. So what I'm going to do now, I'll show you the clip, sort of the original. I was call it unedited. It's not, it's unmagic erased, and then the version that Google's done on the device to remove the wind noise. So I'm hoping I can use this to demonstrate removing the wind noise from video, but we'll see. So I'm hoping I can use this to demonstrate removing the wind noise from video, but we'll see. I mean, that's pretty impressive. I mean, you could say, I suppose, really it's just noise cancellation, but in theory, if you had loads of other noises going on, so I just had the wind noise and it just kind of like, okay, we can take that out. If you had a dog barking or a baby crying, in theory, you do get different icons on the bottom saying dog barking, baby crying, and you can select which one and change how much it affects it. That's pretty clever, that's pretty cool. There are other sort of things in the Pro version. I did kind of want things like the video night mode and stuff like that. And what confuses me, from what I understand, is that gets uploaded to Google and then downloaded back to your phone. So I don't know why they couldn't do it on the 8. But anyway, let's move on to software. Although, having said that, I'm not going to... It's Android 14. There have been quite a lot of additions to Android over the last year or two. So things like notification flashes. When you get a notification, literally you can have the screen kind of pulse at you, or the flash pulse, which I quite like. Health Connect is really useful. If you run loads of different health apps, you can have it all sync through Google's Health Connect. Tap actions, so hopefully it's going to work. So let's unlock just in case that needs to, but it's not. That was it, because the tap action, I was thinking it was the camera for a minute, but it's not. I've put it to play and pause, so it's kind of cool, but you can map that to different actions. Customizable lock screen, so I don't know if you noticed, but let's clear those away again. So that's a little bit of a different look, and you can, it's quite customizable at this point. AI wallpapers, so you can kind of, oh goodness, I won't go into it. I'll link you to, I watched a really good hints and tips video on all the different things you can do in Android 14. I'll link through to that in the video description. But yeah, generally Android 14, they are adding quite a lot of new stuff in there. Some of it AI based, some of it just customizable. The other big news, I suppose, is this thing's going to be getting updates for 7 years. 7 years? I mean, there's no way I'm owning it for 7 years, but someone else might own it after me, I suppose. 7 years, that's crazy. Mind you, having said that, I was at 2 years and I wasn't going to upgrade. Who knows? Maybe I'll go 3 or 4 or 5 years with this phone now. Who knows? But yeah, 7 years, pretty impressive, I thought. The battery is a Li-ion 4575 milliamp hour, 27 watts wired charging. I think might even be a few watts less than the Pixel 7. 18 watts wireless. It does reverse wireless charging. If I'm honest, the battery, I was slightly disappointed. And I suppose only because I was hoping it might get slightly better than the Pixel 6. And if anything, I'm slightly worse than the Pixel 6, but it is only slightly. And in fact, if I look at Accu battery, it's telling me I'll go 10 hours, just over 10 hours on screen on time, 32 hours on screen off time, and like 27 combined. And the thing I tweaked a little bit earlier when I talked about the refresh rate, I changed that a couple of days ago, and it has dropped the screen on time. It was at like 13 hours, and it's come down to 10, and I've just tweaked, maybe that's because I turned on the screen refresh to 120 hertz. But I mean, 10 hours is still plenty. I mean, don't get me wrong, at the end of the day, I've still got, I think I'm at about 30 or 20. I haven't charged this for, over a day, over 24 hours, definitely. So you don't have to worry about it. It's my charging habits have definitely changed. I don't charge overnight these days because you just generally don't need to. So probably didn't sound right when I said I'm disappointed, because the battery is still very good and it will get better the more I use it. I thought maybe though it just would be stronger than it is. All in all, how happy am I with it? Yeah, I'm really happy. I do like the smaller form factor. I do like the screen. And this is why I said small iterations aren't necessarily a bad thing. Is this all that different to the Pixel 6? Not massively. Was the Pixel 6 a really good phone? Yeah. So is it good that they take that and then it just gets slightly better? Well, yeah, because the 6 was really good and now this is better than really good. So it's not they could have changed loads of stuff and all of a sudden like, oh, I don't know if I want to upgrade because actually this is worse and that's worse. I don't think really, I've just said the battery wasn't maybe quite as good, but I think it might progress, and as it learns more, it will equal the 6. Nothing really is worse. As you'd expect, I suppose. So things are just getting better all the time. Therefore, yeah, I think it's a good upgrade. Is it the right upgrade for you? I can't answer that because, for me, £500 was a reasonable price to pay. I could probably still sell the 6 for 200 or so, 250, I don't know. So you're looking at the upgrade cost of being 250, 300. I'm all right with that. Other people, different priorities. You could buy a whole Xiaomi for £200. So I can't tell you if it's worth it for you. What I can tell you is, yeah, it's a good phone. I've just spent however long it is giving you all this information. It's now for you to make that choice. But it is a good device. It is slick and fast. The camera's very good. I love the smaller size. Yeah, I don't know what else I can tell you. I think I've covered it all. So basically, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. If you have any questions, let me know. I'm going to try and there's a couple of other things going on that hopefully I'll be making videos before too long. I do miss you guys. I do miss making the videos. So hopefully you've enjoyed this one. For now, my name's Andy. I'll catch you all again soon.